Good morning, my name's Ray. I'm with Team S.T.E.A.M. and this morning we're going to be taking our very first steps down the rather lengthy road of completely redoing this 1978 Kenworth K100. Now when I say redoing, I mean redoing from front to back. Basically every aspect of this truck is going to go under the knife. We're stripping off all of the reasonable components. Components like the horns, the steps, the lights, the exhaust, the entire exhaust, the air intake, the fenders. Then we're taking the truck in the shop and we're going to take it all down to bare metal. We're going to strip all of the paint off everything except for the roof cap. The roof cap's in decent enough shape that the paint's not coming off of it, plus it's fiberglass. You really want to be careful when trying to strip paint off of fiberglass. It's getting new Kenworth emblems. It's getting this rubber right here that you see that holds in this piece of mesh is destroyed. I'm going to put a new one of those in. We're painting the cab in a 3-tone. 2 of the tones are metallic. We're painting the chassis. We're doing this truck from front to back. If vintage Cabovers are your thing, you might want to check this one out. Now, where we're going to start this morning is I'm going to go ahead and pull this truck in the shop and we're going to start stripping stuff off of it so we can start stripping the paint off of it. All right, we've got everything taken off this truck that we need to have taken off to accommodate the next step, which is this. This isn't any sort of paid advertisement or advertisement at all. It's just that this is the only kind of stripper I've found that actually does what I need it to do. There's a lot of them on the market, a lot of these citrus-based ones and all this garbage, and none of them will actually touch tough paint, automotive paint and some of the coatings that I deal with, but this one will. This will even take off a bed liner. So this is the one I use for all my stripping needs. This driver's side is half scraped. This is what it looks like before and after I take a scraper to it, just a little normal 5-in-1 painter's tool type scraper. And here's what the back of the truck looks like. Alright, so I've got all the scraping done that I need to get done. We're down to either bare metal or the thinnest of layers of original primer, like you can see here on the door in some spots. And I'll sand that the rest of the way off when I get this back in. But for now, I'm going to fire up my pressure washer. I'm going to back it out that door. I'm going to pressure wash it. Then I'm going to pull it through the shop through that door. And I'm going to go ahead and sandblast the chassis. Alright, I just got done pressure washing it out front, then I pulled it out back and I've sandblasted the entire chassis inside and out. I blasted everything that needs to be blasted, and now I'm going to go ahead and clean up all my gear out here and pull this back inside. So we got those chores done yesterday and got the truck pulled in late yesterday afternoon, and here it is the next morning. The boys will be here any minute. They're going to go ahead and start masking on this guy. I'm going to get this one remaining Kenworth emblem off, and I'm also going to pull the visor here this morning. The owner's got a stainless visor he's going to put on when he gets the truck back. So we're going to pull this one off and we're going to plug these holes that mount the visor to the cab and fiberglass them over so it's more ready for him to drill the new holes when he gets his new visor on. All right, we got it all masked up. Now I got the boys on it. They're sanding the entire thing top to bottom in 180 on the bare steel and then 220 on all the fiberglass. Getting all the sanding done. Getting all of this sort of stuff off here and getting this all abraded around all the rivets. Get everything all ready for me to start laying color on this guy. Okay, so here's what it looks like as sanded up as I need it for the moment. And I told the boys to keep their DA sanders good and flat, not to get in there and dig around any of the edges, so we know exactly where the dents are. And here on the driver's side there are quite a few. Some of them are pretty darn good sized. You know, so, and then this is caved in, over a 1/4 inch, probably closer to a 1/2 inch, where this step was, this bar was. Apparently at one point in time, the side of this truck got hit really good, and it caved this in, and that's also what cracked the bar itself, the step bar itself. So I'm gonna open this door, get to it from the inside, and beat this back out to where it is as flat as I can get it before I try and do any body work here. So now I'm standing on top of this ladder with this roof of this cab over here behind me, and I'll show you what we've been up to here. These were the spots where the old visor, which, like I mentioned, he's replacing it with a new, completely different visor, and the chances are slim to none that that visor is going to mount in the same spots. So we've ground out these holes and plugged them with fiberglass. Something else was mounted up here at some point in time, and it just had bolts sticking up with a bunch of caulking around it. So I cut the bolts off and ground out and replaced those holes with fiberglass. So now I'm going to grind those fiberglass fillings back down, get them roughed up, and get bodywork over them here first thing. Another thing about this roof is you can see just how cracked up it is. There is cracks everywhere. In fact, there's more cracks than there is roof. If you look closely, there's just cracks everywhere. Everywhere in this roof, there's cracks. And those cracks are even at the backside. They're everywhere. They're covering this roof. So I need to address that here today as well. All right, so now I've got the fiberglass work done, got the body work done. I uncovered somebody else's old body work that was all humped up, and I smoothed it out there and there. Again, it was all humped up and I made it flat. I got my body work all done in all those spots. And now I'm gonna go ahead and finish prepping this guy for primer. All right, so I've got all the body work done. I've got everything smoothed up. I got everything glazed, everything sanded the way I want it. I'm gonna go ahead now and start getting some wet sanding primer on this guy. All right, now here it is the next morning. I got the entire roof finished up, got all those cracks filled, got it primed, got my body work all finished, glazing all finished, and got the affected areas all primed. There wasn't a single ding or dent that I could see anyway. And we'll find out when I get the black paint on. That's why I'm putting the black paint on. I'm putting the black paint on because the roof's gonna be black and the center part of the stripe's gonna be black, but I'm painting the whole truck black so I can find any additional dings in it and get them fixed before I get the final gloss, which will be in purple, on the truck. All right, now I've reinstalled this vent right here, now that there's a good layer of primer underneath it. And I need it on here for when I do everything from here on out. I finished up some of the body work that I didn't know was there until I got the primer on. I got all the primer sanded in all the affected spots. I resanded down the doors, got everything all finished out, found a few more little dings in it and took care of those. Got everything sanded down. Now I'm ready to go ahead and prime this white and then get the silver on it. So as you can see, I got the silver on it yesterday. And now today I'm gonna have to try and lay out this stripe scheme in a way that's gonna work for this vent that's on the front. So today I've got my work cut out for me. Might as well get to it. All right, so after a lot of measuring and figuring, my whole goal is to try and avoid as many rivets as possible. And of course, to not have to go through the middle of this vent at all. And the stripe scheme I've come up with is this right here. Now I just have the passenger side laid out. As you can see, I've got nothing done on the driver's side yet. But the passenger side was the important one to do first because I need to be able to design the stripe scheme to work around that vent. And then I can just apply it over there. All the way around. Hey, there's old Kevin. What are you doing, buddy? And then rather than run it all the way across, because it would get badly interrupted anyway by this bottom crossbar and by that expanded metal grate that's going to go in there. Neither one of which I intend to stripe. So, and now to do the other side. All right, so now I have both sides masked up. This is the one I did first, and here's the one I just finished. And now I got the boys in here. We're doing some prep, getting ready to get all the black ready to shoot. Everything that's going to be black is going to be ready to shoot here in a few hours. And I'm going to get the black on this today. Meanwhile, I'm going to be busy sanding down all of this wet sanding primer that I put on here before. And the entire roof, I'm going to sand all that down. I'm going to sand everything down on this cab and get it ready for black as well. All right, it's go time. Now I got everything all primed up. It's had plenty of time to cure. Now we're going to go ahead and get some black paint on this guy. All right, so here it is the next morning. I got everything shot in black yesterday. And again, I shot the entire truck because when it showed up, it had an incomplete paint job. Paint was falling off everywhere. What was on there was dull, and you couldn't begin to tell where any of the dents and dings were. So I found a lot of them in the wet sanding primer and took care of them, but that doesn't mean you're gonna get them all. You can't just run your hand over it and find some of these tiny little dents and dings. So I went ahead and painted the whole thing black, and sure enough, I found quite a few little disturbances in the paint that I wouldn't have found otherwise. And today we're going to be masking up between the stripes, masking up the chassis, masking up the roof, taking care of the remaining little dents and dings that I found, and then going ahead and at least trying to get it in primer today. Another thing I'm going to be doing today is taking care of that crack. This broken all the way through, and my aluminum welder just makes short work out of aluminum that's this thin. It'll just blow holes in it. So welding it up wasn't really an option. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a patch in that spans this corner and these 3 rivets. So I'm going to pull these 3 rivets out and put a patch in, and then rivet that patch on today. Another busy day. Might as well get to it. And we're just getting some of this masking finished up. The roof masked up. Truck's all masked up. Got some plastic thrown over the chassis. We're gonna get rid of that stuff and just haul it out of the shop. And that's how many dings, how many little tiny dings that I missed. Had I not painted this black first and just kept it in primer, that's how many would have showed up in the final color. And a couple over here too. So last night I left this in wet sanding primer. I reprimed the entire thing in wet sanding primer after sanding the entire thing down yesterday. And this morning I've showed up and I've sanded the entire thing down again. Now I'm going to go ahead and prime it in epoxy primer of a slightly different shade of gray. Then I'm gonna leave that sit for an hour or two. Then I'm gonna go ahead and put the purple on it. And now I've reprimed it in gray epoxy, and I've waited about an hour and a half. You're only supposed to wait about an hour, but I wanna make darn sure. And now I'm gonna go ahead and get some purple on it. Well, here it is the next morning. This guy's all done. It's all cured out, ready to go. I'm going to start unmasking everything, and we'll see how that goes. It unmasked fine. I got all the stripes unmasked. Now we're going to go ahead and unmask the roof, finish unmasking the chassis and everything else around it, and start putting this guy together. Just getting all this stuff back on here. Getting the lights on. Getting ready to put this ladder on this side. Got the horns back on it. Got the ladder on this side. Got all the lights and their little covers on this side. Making our way through it. So I ordered a new one of these rubbers to encase this expanded metal, and just got it installed. So now that's all brand new. All new LED lights for this side, all wired in. Brand new hood emblems for both sides, all installed. Got everything on it. There's nothing left to go on it. All the wiring's done. Everything's installed. Everything's ready to go. All right, she's all done. Let's walk around it and have a look. Okay, this is a 1978 Kenworth K100. As you saw when it showed up, the paint was in terrible shape. The chassis needed sandblasted. These rivets were unsatisfactory. They were little 3/16 rivets. They were all coming loose. Those all got replaced. The roof cap had many holes in it from the previous visor that we plugged and finished out. It had one emblem on it that was broken and the other was missing. This side had the old style of lights, and the other side had LED, so we installed all LED lights on this side. Blasted the chassis, painted it. We took this all off to paint it as well. Replaced that rubber with brand new rubber.
Very tight and always paint across it.
Turned out really sharp. Got good gloss on it.
Tediously by hand. I know anyway, but there's not really a better way to do it.
And here she is sitting outside, getting warmed up. Looks good in the sun. Got a nice metallic to it. Pretty good metal flake on this guy. Alright, so there you have it. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. That's going to help me grow my channel. And if you want to see more videos like this one, or domestic auto body, or gardening, or art, or any of the things we do around here, you might as well go ahead and subscribe, because you know, we always got something going on. We'll see you guys around.